everyone, welcome back to another episode of the DrunkFriend podcast. This is episode 21, and last episode we talked about, I guess, all kinds of stuff, Alex. It was, talked about trailers and Xbox and stuff I don't even remember because I was kind of drunk, but pretty good episode, I think. What did you think of that one?
It was fun. It's always fun. Come on.
It's definitely always
talking
fun.
About what I...
It's definitely always fun. Yeah, I don't remember, though. I've been trying to be more mindful of, it is the DrunkFriend podcast, but when I listened back to that, I was like, what sailor walked in the room and started saying all these dirty words?
You fell for one of the classic blunders, as what's his name would say from Princess Bride.
That's right.
I can't remember that character's name, but yeah, you pulled an Alex. You drank, you were overserved, which I tend to do on here sometimes, especially when Dan is here. I think I was loaded both times Dan was on. Poor guy. Oof.
Yeah, he's probably not coming back. But you know what? I chose to get really hammered when it was just me and you, and I knew you weren't going to go anywhere. So smart thinking. But no, it was pretty fun. So, talking about some stuff coming up for you specifically. Actually, let's talk about me. I'm having a birthday coming up. And
whoa, holy crap.
Yeah, big old number 35. I'm looking forward to it.
35?
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm like way older than you.
You're so old. But I now have to click, I've noticed on websites, I get to click a different demographic in surveys, because it used to be, if you're like something up to 34, but now I'm in the 35 to 40 category. That shifts me, like I'm in a new 5K group when I do runs. Like I'm in the old man group now.
Oh, no.
I've bumped up. And
you're on the senior tour.
Well, what's worse, though, is because people in their early 30s, they do 10Ks. If you bump up to the 35, 40-year-olds for running, the 40-year-olds are all about their 5Ks, and they're pretty good at it. Like, it's actually stiffer competition now because there's more people.
How many miles is 10K?
10K is like 6 miles.
Oh, God, that's brutal. No, I can see 5K seems like reasonable to me. Like, that seems like you can do that. I can do that in,
you did one today.
I don't know. I basically did one today. Yeah, it was walking and running, but I can't imagine running through an entire 5K yet. I'd like to get there, but...
I mean, dude, a month ago, you weren't running at all, and you've already ran 4 miles. So, I mean, you'll get there easily. No. Yeah. Yeah, man, you just got to keep at it.
I guess so, because it is paying off. It does... The running thing does feel easier. It's weird how your body is just... It still feels the same in many ways, but it just kind of... goes into this like, oh, fine mode where it's just like, okay, fine, like we're doing this for a while. And you just get used to that feeling and you learn to live with it, and before you know it, you're freaking, you're all the way I'm like I talked about before, it's like, whoa, I'm way over here now.
Yeah.
How did I get over here?
Yeah, you have to call an Uber to get home.
Yeah.
But that's cool. But actually, the only reason I mentioned my birthday, not to brag that I get to be alive for another year, which is pretty cool. You are having a special ordeal on that day. Do you want to talk about that?
No. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's the Uplink convention. Let me pull up the thing here. Sorry. Long Island Retro is the outfit that is putting on the convention, and I guess Uplink is kind of the website hosting it. And I'm doing my first panel. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm gonna be on camera and all that stuff. So, yeah, it was supposed to be in person. If that were the case, I would not have gone because it's in Long Island. But since it's not, they were able to pull like a ridiculous guest list. It's got like Metal Jesus and a couple of his friends. Like I think is Kinsey there?
Yeah,
I can't remember. Is she one of the people?
I don't know about Kinsey, but I know Kelsey's there with Frank for...
Oh, I'm sorry. I get them mixed up.
I mean, that happens all the time.
The K names. Yeah, okay, so Kelsey's the one that's there. And then John Riggs and the immortal John Hancock.
The guy's been alive for centuries. A lot of people, they respect him for his video games, but I'm like, dude, he's not ever died. It's more impressive than having every Atari Falcon game, in my opinion.
Do you think he's met the immortal Hulk Hogan?
Oh my God, I don't know. I hope so.
I'd love to ask him that. Maybe I'll have a chance.
Did you guys meet back in like 1100 or anything when there were fewer people?
Yeah. So they're the Metal Jesus crew is there. Pat and Ian, Pat the NES Punk, and his podcast partner Ian, who works at the infamous. Well, I don't know if it's infamous, but I guess it is now because he talks about it all the time on his podcast. His game store.
Yeah, well, it's infamous just because of the stories he shares from there. I'm sure it's a fine game store. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're gonna be there. Yeah, they're the people I'm like sharing company with, and then there's quite a few Twitch represents there. Retro Alley is another person. I know she's like a huge Pokemon fan, and I'm not at all. But I've seen some of her. Like, I'm trying to familiarize myself with more of the guests, and she, I think, is doing 2 panels.
Ooh.
One is kind of like a thing about the Pokemon Museum in New York, and the other is just about her Twitch channel. So it's like, dang, pulling double duty, that's tough. But yeah, that's the kind of content you can expect if you decide to do it. Well, actually, and this will be a first for me, and I'm pretty dang nervous about it. But I'm sure it'll be fine until it's time to, it's all the technical stuff you worry about. And I think everybody's in the same boat when it comes to that. The online aspect of it is going to be a little weird for everybody. Because, guys like Metal Jesus and Pat the NS Punk, they've done a million conventions. But not one like this. It's pretty different. So I think everybody's in the same boat when it comes to how strange this is going to be. Everybody's going to be a little off, I think, and so everybody's just a little bit uncomfortable, and that puts me in a good mood because that means I won't feel as weird when I do my panel.
Yeah, I think a lot of those guys, though, some of the we talk about it. I don't know if we talked about it here, but we talk about it a lot of times in our Discord here where we record with our guests. There's a team face and a team no face. And you and I are obviously team no face. We don't put our faces in our content, but we've had some team face people on, and I think those people are going to be the ones that are very comfortable in this scenario because they're used to talking to a computer and being seen and that kind of thing. And especially the streamers, they're used to just going off the cuff. I mean, Metal Jesus gets to edit at least, and a lot of the streamers just have to sit there with their audience and make it up as they go. So I'm sure they'll be fine. But I worry about the team no face gang here. I'm worried about our people. Because I know it's not easy you're used to making 5 to 7 minute long videos, scripted, very calculated stuff, and you put someone like that out in front of a bunch of people and say Dance Monkey, it's a whole different thing.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. I'm just saying you should be scared. No, I'm kidding. But you'll
I'm terrified. No, it'll be fine. I'm sure because I do have a plan. I have a game plan. I plan on talking about just giving a little bit of a personal journey, I guess, so to speak, about like how I got to this point. Because I sure as hell didn't plan this. So it's like, how the hell does something like this happen? So I try and break down, the steps of how I got to, Jesus, I just crossed 175,000 subscribers.
Wow, congrats.
The other day. Thanks. And it's... that's such an astronomical number. That's more than you can fit in Wembley Stadium, for God's sake. So it's how do you get there? What happened? What led to this? So I kind of talk about that a little bit. Kind of go into why I started the channel too. So yeah, it's just stuff like that mostly.
I'm sure it'll be fine, man. I'm excited for you. I'm actually not going to be available for it. For some reason on my birthday we have to take our daughter to a zoo. A drive-through zoo, but a zoo.
How dare you have a birthday on my...
Yeah, I know. If I had to do it over again, but I'll be at a zoo with my daughter, so hopefully there's a rewind or something. I'd like to catch it and see how you did, but I'm sure you'll be great. You'll be fine. People, I think are going to be very intrigued. I know that there is some Team Face stuff from you in the back catalogs of the SNES Drunk YouTube library, but I'd say a vast 165,000 of your people have never seen your face, and that might be something that will excite them. So I hope you shave that day. You better look good.
I'm not shaven. I've had a beard since I was what? Since I was 17, I think.
I've had a Minnesotan beard since I was 9 years old.
The only reason I should say the main reason I grew a beard in the first place is because my older brother can't. Well, he can. It just looks terrible. And my dad has a beard. My dad's had a beard my whole life. So me and my dad would just kind of stand and cross our arms and stare at my brother. And my brother would just tuck his shoulders in and slink away in shame because the power of our combined beards would make him feel embarrassed.
Yeah, man. Beard power is a real thing.
Yeah, that's a true story though. I was like, oh, I can do this, and he can't. Well, take this.
And you've held that over him for the last 20 years.
It looks a little better on him. He's still got a little patchy Sidney Crosby action going there. Like when Sidney Crosby gets his playoff beard going, he looks like a 15-year-old that's trying to grow facial hair a bit. It doesn't look great on him. But my brother's a little bit. He's a bit more seasoned. He's got some enhancement product for that, some like beard balm, I think is what he has, and like the shampoo and all that sort of the brush and all that. So he's got some enhancements there, some PEDs.
But you're al natural, man.
Yeah, I don't need any of that crap. You kidding me?
Heck no. You're the Hagar, man. You got the strong chin and the good facial hair going. That's what it's all about.
I guess, yeah. No, it's definitely not. I got the classic English chin for sure, but I can't compare to Hagar's mustache, but I do have a pretty decent beard, I would say.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't know why I was about to agree with you, but yeah, I'm sure it's a good beard.
You've seen it. It's been on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to get back on there and go beard hunting later. But that's cool, man. Good luck. I hope it goes well. I'm sure it will. And I just want to also congratulate you for that, because that is a esteemed company. I mean, that's some of the biggest names in our retro gaming space, and you're right up there with them. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, thanks.
Oh, so Alex, I forgot to ask you, what are you drinking tonight in regular DrunkFriend fashion?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We need to go over that. By the way, real quick, I do want to mention that my panel starts at 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So if you want to check that out, go to uplink.liretro.com for ticket information. But I have with me here a Elephants on Parade is what it's called. It's beer from Bosque Brewing. Bosque spelled Bosque, and it's Pearl's beer, basically, because it's Elephants on Parade, and it's pink in color when you pour it out, and it's interesting, I guess. It's a Pearl beer, so it's very flavorful. Not my thing usually, but whatever.
Hey, you're doing it. That's what's important.
What do you got?
I have a peach brandy. I don't know why. I don't own a golf course. I don't know why I'm drinking peach brandy. I'm not on a yacht.
Okay, Fraser.
Yeah, I'm not a fancy person at all. I'm wearing the same basketball shorts I think I wore on Monday. So, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's actually very good, and I shouldn't drink any more of it, even though it's very tempting.
Nice.
Yeah, so I picked up an EverDrive for the first time, and I didn't realize that, according to a lot of my friends, they were like, "You didn't have one? Don't you just don't you make tons of videos and play NES games all day?" And I was like, I mean, to boil down my life like that's kind of rude, but yeah. And they were like, "You didn't have an EverDrive? Like, they've been out for years." I was like, "Well, no, I just, I play it al natural. I'm like Alex's beard." And, but no, this is my first time getting one. And the reason I wanted to is because I want to get into more Famicom stuff, not just for the channel, but I have some curiosities about that library. And I know obviously a lot of them are not in a language I speak, so I'm going to have to do some ROM hacking and getting some translation patches and stuff. And in order to still enjoy it the way I want to enjoy it, which is on the NES in my couch, looking at my PVMs, the EverDrive was the answer, and I cannot wait. So I'm about to join the club of EverDrives. Unfortunately, though, what I found was when I ordered mine from Stone Age Gamer, they don't just ship one that day. They're not like, "All right, you EverDrive? All right, we got it in the bag. It's on the truck." They're like, we're going to wait for 3 weeks for a bunch of other people to order them, and then we mail them all out at once. So I'm over here losing my mind. I've never wanted anything so bad in my life. I'm staring at, every time I get an email, I'm like, is that them saying that it's shipped? Like, I have never felt like a kid near Christmas over something that I ordered and paid for and knows coming. I'm so excited for it.
And it's still not there, right?
No, it's not there yet. It's only been a week. I think I have 2 more weeks before they even ship the thing. So I'm going nuts.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. I thought it was at least shipped by now. Okay.
No confirmation.
I didn't hear. Jeez. Okay.
I mean, it could just show up, and that would be amazing. Ugh, that'd be great, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be a few weeks.
Well, there's Famicom stuff, and then there's ROM hacks and stuff like that. Like, there's all sorts of different. Like, you can play the cleaned up version of Castlevania 2 if you want to. You can do fan translations of other stuff, of games that were localized. that were butchered for one
Right.
reason or another. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with that. There's save states, so you don't have to, like if you play Zelda 2, I mean, Zelda 2's on the NES Classic, but just to use an example, like if you want to create your own save states for like the beginning of the dungeon, so you don't have to wander all the way back and waste all that time.
Yeah.
You can do that. And, some people turn their nose up at that, and whatever, I don't care. But
I mean, for the sake of footage stuff, like for the stuff that we do, it's a necessity. Like if you want to get a video out in time, there's no way you can just sit there and just punish yourself for no reason just to get a few clips. Save state, get to the end and show it off. That's what I'm doing it for mainly. I mean, I'll probably still play the games as as I want to. It doesn't matter how you play them, but for the footage stuff, I'm super excited to cheat my ass off. That's what I'm here for. Actually, I want to do a whole video about fun cheats in games, even though they're all widely known, but just to mess around with some of them because it just seems like a cool, fun idea. But yeah, I'm super stoked for the EverDrive because I think it'll broaden my horizons for things I can do on the channel. And it'll certainly let me, get into some stuff, especially some of the import stuff that's always kind of been a I'll worry about it later, I'm not interested in it yet kind of thing, and make that something I can really dig into. So I'm excited.
Right on. And I'm excited for you because it's a fun little toy to have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Can't wait. I can't wait to ignore my family and play that a lot.
So we've got some recent videos we need to talk about here.
Yeah.
You've got one for Snake, Rattle, and Roll?
Hell yeah, man. And it's actually a perfect video for today's guest who can destroy this game and has on his YouTube channel a no-death run of this game. So, and this was a total fluke. We don't schedule our Nest friends by our drunk friends. It's not how we do our friends. It just so happened that was the case. So pretty excited that our guest came on when he did. And this game, Snake, Rattle, and Roll is a great game. Great music. David Wise composed it. It's a rare game, not hard to find. It's made by Rare. And it's a lot of fun. Very, very tough game, though. It can get very hard.
Did the isometric viewpoint give you a lot of issues?
Yeah, I would say it works pretty well, but it's not perfect for sure, and it'll make you upset.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's that's one game that does not agree with me. I mean, I like it. I like the music in it, especially, but it's just not my. It takes about 5 minutes for me to be like, all right, like either I bear down and grit my teeth and try and learn this game, or I can just save myself the aggravation and quit now. And I usually quit right then. So it's one of those games.
Makes sense to me. And you have a couple fun ones too. Actually, your videos this week couldn't have contrasted more in terms of style and content.
Yeah, the first one, the Tuesday one, was Psycho Dream, which was a pretty interesting Super Famicom game. It's regular action platformer. It reminds me, and apparently a lot of other commenters, it reminds them of Majuo, which is otherwise known as King of Demons, which is a horror-based action platformer. It's like a Castlevania meets, I don't know. It's a tough game to narrow down. It's kind of like a Genesis game, really, more than anything. It plays more like a Genesis game, looks more like a Genesis game. But Psycho Dream has I like the story in it, which is rare for me to say on a non-RPG Super Nintendo game, but apparently there's like this a pandemic of sorts of virtual reality sickness, basically, where kids are getting sucked into virtual reality and falling into comas and stuff.
Jesus.
So this team of experts need to be called in, and they're called the Diamond Dogs, which made me laugh as soon as I read that, because it's like, okay, we get it. You like David Bowie.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's either David Bowie or it sounds like a super group of like Cheap Trick and George Thorogood or something for no reason.
And David Lee Roth.
Oh, he's got to be in there, yeah. He doesn't sing in that one. He just walks around without a shirt, but yeah.
But it's they go into the dreams, hence Psycho Dream, and kill all these weird monsters and cool stuff. And yeah, it's a good game. I like it. It's not, a AAA like Mega Man X, style game. It's not going to be on that level, but it's still, that doesn't mean it's not worth playing. It's still perfectly good.
I like the name. I mean, the name lures me in. It just sounds cool, right?
Yeah, Psycho Dream.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds like a Sepultura song or something. But yeah, and then today's video, today being Thursday, was Magical Cat Adventure, which is, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. And really, when I find these games, I'm just looking at like Wikipedia pages basically, and I'm just like looking at this giant list of arcade games released in 1993 or something like that, and I see a name like this, and I'm just like, that sounds so generic. I wonder if it's as generic as it sounds. And I look at it, and I'm like, hey, this looks pretty good. And I notice the main sprite is like, uh-oh, is that Bubsy? I really hope that's not Bubsy. So I look into it, it's not Bubsy, and I'm off and running from there. I'm already writing it in my head, like, as I'm playing it, so.
If it were Bubsy, would you have passed? You'd be like, oh.
Yes, I would have. Screw Bubsy. I hate Bubsy games. They're so frustratingly bad.
If they're not great.
Because they look like they should be like, oh, he's bouncy, happy, blah, 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 and it's just everything kills you. The controls are terrible, and it's like, I want this game to be good. It's just not. Yeah. But yeah, Magical Cat Adventure is okay. It's perfectly decent. It's one of those like super obscure games. It's just like, what the heck is this? Oh, here's what it is. Yeah. You might like it. Here you go. Hopefully this video is useful for you. One of those things.
I always find those interesting, man. The arcade stuff I'm not well versed in, so anytime you show any of that, whether it's good or bad, I'm like, wow, that exists, and that's sometimes very exciting to me.
There's so much stuff like that. I've only like hit the tip of the iceberg.
That's good.
Like, there's so much stuff, like just an endless amount. It's crazy. These like one-off developers that come from nowhere. They make like 2 or 3 games, or in this case with Magical Cat Adventure, it's just one game.
Jeez.
And then they're gone. They just disappear into thin air. It's like, okay. But yeah, it's a decent little game. I liked it.
And that's what inspired me to write my very clever comment on your video, which was a reference to Cotton Eye Joe. And I gotta say, pretty popular comment over there on Magical Cat Adventure. A whopping 13 likes right out of the gate. So
whoa,
people were loving it. Oh, it's up to 18 now. And that comment is. And just so everybody knows the name of the, and yes, I'm sharing my comment on DrunkFriend because I'm so proud of it. The comment is, the company is called Win Techno, and I said, if it hadn't have been for Win Techno, there'd be no fake Bubsy a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Win Techno. I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect stuff. You can really get down to that at a middle school sock hop. I think it's good.
So is that the first time a YouTube comment was read on a podcast and then got applause?
I want to say yes.
Instead of like derisive laughter, because we're making fun of somebody getting mad or something like that.
Right on, man. Yeah, that's true.
Well done with that. I did not see that coming. That was well done.
You actually said it in a way that you were like, and where did they go? And I was like, Win Techno. It just kind of made itself, man.
That was a complete freaking coincidence.
I know.
I'm not that clever.
You inspire me. What can I say?
But you are.
We have some emails to get to real quick here. Well, the first one doesn't have a question. It's just a cool story, so I'll go ahead and read that one. This is from John O. He's emailed us before. Hello, John O. Thank you for reaching out. He says, hey, drunk friends.
Hi, John O.
Hello. Alex says hi. He says, hey, drunk friends, listening to the latest episode, and of course, this is from before, so we just put it all together. This is about the music episode. Listening to the latest episode and your recollections of concert experiences brought back some fond memories of my own. The one in particular that stands out highest was attending an Iron Maiden headlined festival back in 2011. The first wonderful thing that occurred was the fact that the Murder Dolls and Dimmu Borgir, did I say that right? Were playing. I probably didn't say that right, but Dimmu Borgir.
You were close.
Borgir?
Yeah, Borgir, I think.
Okay. It's definitely a dwarf from Lord of the Rings. Okay, so he says, now, this was in the middle of an Australian summer with weather rapidly approaching 40 degrees, which is 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So we were soon presented by hordes of goths and black metal fans dripping with sweat, resulting in their corpse paint leaving them looking like the world's saddest pandas. Which is a very visceral description, and I can see it right in front of me. He says, however, nothing could have prepared me for Slayer hitting the stage. Within the first 2 songs, I saw multiple people leaving the mosh pit bloodied and bruised, including one poor woman who had had a cheek piercing torn out. However, the enduring memory of that performance was one of my friends descending into the chaos of the pit. he soon disappeared in the swarm of thrashing bodies. The next indicator of his presence in the crowd was seeing one of his easily identifiable red skate shoes flying into the air and continuing to be tossed around by the crowd. Shortly after, another shoe joined it. At the end of the set, he emerged covered in dust and sweat, with his normally long, straight hair looking more like The Cure's Robert Smith. His only words before collapsing on the grass were, "Fucking Slayer, man." Sorry for the lengthy email. Loving the music talk. Hope it becomes a regular feature. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Jono. That's a great story. I'm glad your friend survived.
Yeah, that's a tough one to survive. Slayer was actually my first floor concert.
Oh man!
And yeah, I was 17. It was 1999, or no, it was 98, I think. And I was 16, and I just got the ever living crap kicked out of me.
Wow!
It was pretty brutal. My neck hurt for like 3 days afterward. So yeah, Slayer will kick your ass. Actually, they won't anymore because they retired.
Yeah,
but
indeed.
They probably still could though if they decided to play more.
Hey man, drugs are a hell of a drug.
We got another email here from Raphael and game difficulty. He says, "Hey guys, how are you doing?" I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing good.
Okay. I've got a couple of questions I thought of the other day. First, do you think your routine will allow you to both keep recording DrunkFriend when things get back to normal? I mean, if it ever does. Just kidding. Are you, though? Are you kidding? Because I think you're serious.
Yeah, it could be like this for a while. I don't know, man. We can just jump into this one real quick. I think as far as my work schedule goes, it could change. I do some lighting science, which requires me to be working at night. But I think if you and I really wanted to put out an episode, given the amount of work we put into the things we already do, we could make it work. But I think it would probably be, I think we're okay.
Yeah, I think we're okay too. For me, it depends on what. See, at my job, it's like, okay, create a process for this. And then once I'm done with that, it's moving on to the next thing I have to make. And that it can, that is all over the map. Like, that can be working with different departments. That's, who knows how taxing that could end up being. For me, it's a little more up in the air, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Cool.
Oh, I'm reading the email. Second, my question is about what level of difficulty you guys usually pick when playing a game you've never played before, or for a video review when you need to show several aspects from that game. In the 8/16-bit era, it was common to go first for the easy mode, since the games were rather unfair sometimes. But there are those which don't show you all of it unless you pick normal mode, or even harder than that. What do you guys think? It depends on what you're playing, the familiarity of the game or genre. Personally, I only feel comfortable to pick harder difficulties on those ones I know for some time, or if it's mandatory to achieve the true ending. I guess that's it for now. Keep doing a good job. You guys are great even when you get off topic, like talking about music and stuff, and we have similar musical taste. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Cheers from Brazil, from Raphael. Thank you, Raphael. Very good email.
Yeah, thanks.
For me, I always start on normal for games. I don't even look at, I look at the options to see what's there, but I always start on whatever the default difficulty is. How about you?
Yeah, same, just because I think that's going to give you the most, the flavor that the developers probably intended most people, the majority of people, to get. That's what I kind of want to base the review on.
Yeah.
I will say, though, most NES stuff doesn't have an option. Most of it just kind of throws you in. You can, maybe you can get like a Games Plus if you beat it and make it harder. Sometimes easier, but
yeah, I was gonna say sometimes it's not even, there is no choice. You got to play whatever's put in front of you. But for most stuff, it's definitely. I will say for fighting games, I'll start on easy just to give myself a chance to get warmed up.
Learn the moves and stuff. That makes sense.
Yeah, just to learn the moves, and so I have time, to learn the inputs and understand what I'm supposed to do, and then I'll move on from there. But for the most part, I just do normal, and then, like he says, do you ever move on if there's an option? Do you move on to anything harder than that? Do you go on to do the second quest in Zelda or anything like that? Anything crazy like that?
Rarely, I guess. It's more of just a time thing. I feel like once I've beat it, I kind of move on from it. But
yeah,
there are some multiplayer games, like me and my buddies. I have a close group of friends that are really, really into the Gears of War series. And even when a new game comes out, we go ahead and pick the harder difficulty just because we play so well together and we're so familiar with that system and how it all works. That's like the only thing, and that's not me by myself. I'm with a group of dudes that are also pretty good at it. But on my own, I hardly ever. I'm not great at games. I love them. I love them a lot, but I'm not as skilled as even our guest coming up or a lot of other people. Normal is perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, please do not be under the impression that I'm like all that good of a gamer, because I'm definitely not all that. I'm not. I'm just some guy. Like I'm really not all that great at gaming. I just really, really like games.
Yeah.
Just like you. I will say, and I'll mention this one just because it gets brought up later hilariously because Trav loves golf so much.
Oh, big fan.
Mario Golf World Tour for 3DS. For that, I play tournament tees. I crank the wind up. I put so many hours into that I would play a difficulty, the toughest difficulty, just because it makes it more interesting. Because otherwise, it's just too easy. So yeah. Otherwise, I just stick with whatever the game gives me.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on to the next email here and the last one before we get to our guest. This is Paul. He's talking about those sports movies we brought up last episode. He says, "Hey all, loved the conversation on favorite sports movies. Mine is not a sports movie, but a favorite sports sequence in a movie, The Naked Gun, third act where Frank first has to pose as a singer and perform the national anthem, then as the umpire. It's such a perfect lampooning of every aspect of the game and even the stadium experience. When they show bloopers, including a player getting mauled by a tiger and one getting decapitated, and the announcer is completely unflapped. I can't stop laughing. Every time I watch a baseball game, I hope the umpire will clean home plate with a vacuum cleaner. Have a great week." Paul, and that's actually a really good point. You don't think of Naked Gun as a sports movie, but that whole sequence with
Leslie Nielsen.
I almost called him Liam Neeson. That whole sequence with Leslie Nielsen. I mean, what a legend. He just played that total aloof comedy so perfect, man.
Oh, he was one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite movies ever for sure. Just the whole when he first calls a strike and he looks at the crowd, and when he starts going hey, all right, and he's like he starts calling strikes before the ball even hits the glove.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's so good. It's so good.
And by the way, the announcer, the guy gets, I think it's when the center fielder goes up to try and rob a home run, and somehow his head snaps off and goes over the wall instead. And that's when the announcer comes in, and the announcer is Mel Allen, I think, and he goes, "How about that?" He's just completely unfazed.
Good stuff. Good email, Paul. Thank you so much.
But yeah, Naked Gun is brilliant.
All right, well, let's get ready for our guest here. So coming up, we have a guy who kind of does it all, and it's pretty impressive. Does. Yeah, you'll see him mainly on Twitch. He does have a YouTube channel, but you'll see him on Twitch beating tons of classic games. He has some no-death runs of some pretty tough NES games, which certainly impressed me. And on other nights, he'll be painting, which a little bit different than most of the folks that we feature here. He's doing some stuff outside of the box, which is cool. And I think his channel is really starting to take off, his Twitch channel, that is. And so you definitely want to catch him. He's also on YouTube. He showcases many talents there. Like he plays music, and again, posts all of his painting stuff there as well. And you can buy some of his paintings. He was a really good interview. I had a lot of fun with him, Alex.
Yeah, me too. He's a really, really talented guy. Very skilled. He's got kind of an interesting story about how and why he started painting, which is kind of unexpected.
Yeah, that's right. So everybody stick around for the ReNESance. So, Mr. ReNESance, the game escape artist, painter guy, Bob Ross, what would you like to go by?
You can just call me Ren. That's fine.
Ren. I didn't have that one on the list. Okay, Ren. Well, thanks again for joining us here on DrunkFriend.
One syllable.
Yeah, well, it's nice and simple. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining us here. How are things going with you, man? How are things been with all the stuff going on? You hanging in there?
With life in general and the pandemic, is that what you're kind of getting at?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I'm super psyched to be here, so really appreciate it. Life is crazy. Yeah, I'm hanging in. I'm okay, which is good. My family's all right. Hope everyone else's is fine too. It's kind of a weird time right now for me personally, just because it's kind of given me an opportunity to kind of really dive into the art stuff and really try to do something with it because I have time. So although things are crazy and a little, little sketchy with finances and stuff, which I'm sure everyone is feeling that, it's actually kind of a blessing in disguise as well because I'm really getting time to do quite a bit of work. So there's that.
Nice. Yeah, there are some weird silver linings intermixed here, and who knew? Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all benefiting from your free time because you're painting some really cool stuff.
Thank you.
And yeah, you stand out because you do something a little more than play games on stream. You also paint on some nights.
Yes.
Now, if somebody had never seen what you do in action, what would they see on these streams?
If you tune into the streams that are Saturday nights, you're basically just going to see a goofy guy in front of a canvas. You'll see a camera on me and a camera on the canvas. And I'm either working on a gamescape, which is what I call them, basically just a landscape based off of a video game background or scenery, or just a kind of a objective view of a setting or something like that. Or I'll just be working on a traditional landscape as well. But basically, that's it. I mean, I've got a little bit of a soundtrack going from NES tunes from my favorite, some of my favorite games that's just playing in the background, so people can be comfortable with the silence, because silence is going to happen because I'm painting. You know what I mean?
Right.
And although I don't hear it, so I get super awkward. I'm just like painting. Like,
I was gonna say, do you hear the music too?
No, I kind of wish I did sometimes. Yeah, because it's like I'll be painting like leaves, and I'll just be like dot 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 dot, and I'm just like, Jesus, this is so boring. Like no one's watching this.
That's why you got to do what Bob Ross does, where he has these cutaways on his shows to him hanging out with like animals, yeah, like orphaned animals and stuff, and he shows off like all his conventions that he goes to and all that
Maybe
stuff.
I should think about doing that. Yeah, I can kind of just cut to clips of me dying in video games or something. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, conversely, you were saying that you didn't think, well, you thought it was boring, and there's nobody watching this, but that's not true. People have so much fun in there. I find that, between your painting streams and your gaming streams, you wouldn't really know the difference based on the crowd. People are pretty engaged, and you stay engaged too, which is an important thing for a streamer to do, but you're able to do that while you're painting, and I think that's what makes it fun.
Totally. I mean, I was convinced to give it a shot to stream painting at first because I never really thought to do it. And I'm so glad I did because, yeah, it makes the work so much more fun for me as well because, I have friends to talk to and new people coming in all the time, and we talk about anything from art to games to whatever, to movies. I mean, we have some ridiculous conversations, but it's really just like I feel like I'm sitting there painting with, a party behind me, and we're all just kind of having a good time. So it's great.
Is it more nerve-wracking to, put your artistic talents sort of not really on blast? That's not really what I'm looking for, but like you're putting them out there in front of people as you do it. How much more nervous are you about that versus when you're playing a game and the stakes are high? Is it like, is there a difference there? Do you feel nervous, like people are judging what, every stroke you make?
Way more nervous with the art, for sure. Yeah, there's no question. When I've done streams of that nature, any sort of, artistic whatever, it's like the beginning of it is the worst. Like I'll click start streaming and I'll just like pace around my place, just being like, oh my God, no one's gonna come, and I'm just gonna be like, the beginning of all those painting streams are basically me just like sitting down. Okay, I'm gonna get my paints out. I'm gonna do this, and no one's there. Like I'm just sitting there and just feeling very foolish at first, but which makes it so much nicer when people do show up. It's just it's a very warm kind of feeling. So, but to answer your question, yeah, I'll play a game. I mean, I'll stream a game and die 1,000 times, and it'll just be kind of stupid and funny. But when I'm actually painting, it's a little nerve-wracking. Yeah.
Is it comparable to have you done conventions in the past or like art shows or portfolio shows or anything like that where you've had to kind of awkwardly stand there next to your work? Have you done that before too? Is that comparable, would you say?
I have. I've done 2 conventions now. There's a convention, Retro World Expo, up in Hartford, Connecticut. I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but I've done that twice as a vendor. I've gone several times, but twice as a vendor, and It's cool. Like the last time I did it, unfortunately got canceled this September, but last September when I did it, I actually brought a canvas and was painting while I was sitting there. So yeah, that was I don't remember who told me that idea or game. I think it was my sister. Like, you should do this, and then I raffled it off for like a winner. So every time someone would buy a print, they get thrown into the raffle, and then very good idea. I can't take credit at all. My sister's brilliant.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the first time, yeah, it was a little strange. It was mostly strange because you're just standing there, and conventions are long, man. Like you're not walking around looking at stuff when you're a vendor. You're just like sitting in your little pen, and you're just like like a puppy, like everyone that walks by, like, do you want to take me home? And most of the time, I'm selling art, and people are there for like games, so But
that's something unexpected, though. I mean, if I were going someplace to get games and I see the kind of work that you do, it's like, hell yeah, like this is something like super nice and unexpected. Like
it has caught on a little bit more. Yeah, the first time, I mean, I did get some good feedback and stuff, and then the second time, it was great. I was just like, oh, people were like, oh, you're back. I was like, yeah, I am. You remember me?
Sweet.
That's yeah, it's very, very, cool. Very, very nice to feel that. So. I'm the same. Like when I go to conventions, not that I do a ton, but yeah, I look at the games. But I love looking at people's art stuff too. I love anything that's kind of outside the box. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that draw me in for sure.
So how long had you been streaming before you added the paint aspect to it?
Wow, probably about 6 months or so. I started streaming on YouTube actually in, God, I guess it was 17. I think it was 17. And I did that, yeah, for about 6 months or so. And again, I was kind of, urged to, yeah, you should stream your painting. So I gave that a shot. And yeah, I think it must be like a year and a half or so that I'm doing it. So every Saturday night.
Yeah, and it's been great as well. I'm curious though, where the art and gaming marriage kind of starts for you. So like, even as a kid, did you combine video games and art? Were you drawing a lot of characters, or has that always been a part of you?
I think so, now that you ask that. I hadn't really thought about that, but I remember when I was a kid, I created a video game in my head one time, and I drew out the different levels and the different enemies and stuff like that. It was kind of like a one-time thing, but I did used to draw a lot when I was a kid. I never painted or anything like that, but so it was, yeah, they were probably intertwined in my brain since childhood. But like, to answer your question, how it kind of came together for this, it was really kind of a weird thing. It was just, I got into painting simply because I had a wall in my place that was blank for years, and it just drove me nuts. So I was like, I need to put something up there. Like, I wasn't painting at all yet, so I was just like, I'm going to go on Amazon, and I'm going to just look for, those like multi-canvassed pieces where it's like 4 or 5 canvases, but they're all the same picture sort of thing?
Yeah.
So I was like, I like those. Let me go on Amazon and just find something, and I'll just put it up, whatever. But all the reviews were terrible. They're like, oh, this is the crappiest thing. It fell apart. I was just like, whatever. So it's kind of always been my nature to be like, let me just do it myself. Like, I like to learn stuff. I like to just get try my hand at stuff. So I went to Michael's. I bought like a pack of multi-canvases, and I came home. I found the scene that I wanted to do, and I did it. And it wasn't great, but I'm actually looking at it right now. It's like, it's kind of my reminder of where I started with it all.
Wow.
Huh.
So that's how I started painting, like the landscape stuff. And I made like 2, 3, 4 pieces, and then I was just like, okay, well, now what do I paint? I don't know what else to do. And since I am a gamer, a retro gamer, I love the old games, I was just thinking about a couple of games that I loved, and I thought, wouldn't it be neat if I could make a landscape out of what that world might look like if it actually existed in the real world? And that's what I did. So just for fun at first, just to see what it would look like in my brain,
That's really cool.
Did you go? Yeah, that is really cool. Did you go to any like art schools or anything like that? Or I mean, you said you drew when you were a kid. Did that eventually lead to like illustration classes, or are you professional? Not, I don't want to say professionally, but because I mean,
right.
You don't need to be, obviously, but trained, I should say. But do you have any like academic work with that?
No.
Not at all.
Not really. I mean,
wow.
I remember taking like drafting in high school or something, but no, I never.
Sure.
I just did always. Yeah, I was always just kind of pretty artistic and drew a lot. And
yeah.
I'll be totally honest, and it sounds crazy, but my education of painting is YouTube.
Oh, sure, yeah. That I mean, that's kind of the world we live in now, and that's really cool to hear. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, and I'm kind of glad it didn't happen that way, because I don't know how I feel about art schools and stuff like that. First of all, my parents never would have foot the bill for an art school, so that just wouldn't have happened. So I'm kind of glad that I wasn't sort of, crammed into any boxes in any other way of how to learn how to do it. You know what I mean? I just kind of learned it on my own, and just watching other painters on YouTube, and I watch a very wide variety of different styles. So I kind of just take basic ideas and take them to the canvas and see what I can do with it.
Was there anybody on YouTube in particular that you would cite as an influence, like maybe 2 or 3 different people, or
yes,
even more than that, or?
For sure, I'll just give a few. One guy is Michael James Smith, who is an insane landscape painter. He's a British dude. If anyone likes, he does like photorealistic stuff. It's mind blowing what he does, and I've learned so much from him. So that's one guy, Michael James Smith. There's a guy, Paint with Kevin Hill, who's another oil painter. And I don't use oils, I use acrylics, but again, it's the same kind of ideas that you can kind of translate.
Yeah.
He's been a big influence. I've just started watching old videos of like the masters as well, which is just fun to see. I couldn't ever approach to do with the stuff that they did, because it's just mind blowing. So beautiful. So yeah, those are just a couple that I watch a lot regularly. But Michael James Smith, man, if you want to see something that's just gonna blow your balls off, you got to check him out. It's unbelievable.
I hear you on the YouTube thing though, especially because my mom, she's like the creative one in the family, like the majorly creative one, and she did the same kind of thing where we had an old chair that needed to be reupholstered, and my mom has made clothes, her whole life basically, for herself, for other people, and that sort of stuff. So she's skilled with a sewing machine, but this is like reupholstering a chair. So what she did, she freaking went on YouTube and just watched like a 2-hour video, or I don't know if it's 2 hours, but like, just a series of videos about this is what you do step by step. And she pulled it off, and she gave me that. I have that chair in our bedroom, and it's like, wow, my mom did this from nothing.
It's so incredible.
I mean, it's really cool to hear like other people are doing the same thing, and you're doing it with something creative, with painting, which is awesome.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, it depends on how you learn. Different people have different ways of how they learn. Some people need to be shown something, whatever. So I've always been the kind of learner that if I can watch someone do something, I can infer a lot of like, I think this is what they're doing here. I think this is what they're doing in there. And I'll take that and I'll experiment with it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's always narrowing the funnel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think it's an inspiration, both your story, Alex, and also what you said, Ren, in that, I think we always tend to think that people that are extremely talented kind of come out that way. Like Alex was making SNES videos when he was 4, and I imagine that you were painting and alongside Bob Ross when you were a kid. But it seems like this is something that came later, and you can teach, for lack of a better metaphor, old dogs new tricks. So I think that's really cool, and it's kind of an inspiration that for anyone out there that's maybe always wanted to paint or wanted to draw or get into anything. Really, you just, I guess, have to find your personal inspiration and motivation to get started, and you can probably create something and impress yourself, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I think you identify your passion of what you're passionate about and what you're excited about. I think it's important to notice, and that's a good point, when you just sort of see someone for the first time and you see something they're doing and it just blows your mind. You're like, wow, they just have this talent. What you don't realize is like all the work that, like when you watch a video, like a SNES drunk video, and you're just like, wow, these are really great. Like, this is so much fun. That was probably hours of your sleepless nights trying to think of how the hell do I do this and that and whatever it is. Or honestly, it's just like, it's important to realize that, whatever kind of creator you are, you're spending a ton of time and energy trying to figure out how to do it. it's not just like it doesn't just happen, you know. Like sure, you have to have the talent, of course, but it's what you do with that talent. So I think that's important to recognize.
And it's also effort over time. You know, I'm not this stuff is, you know, like, you know, it's a poor example, but today's video on my channel was about a game called Magical Cat Adventure. So everything I have done up to this point has led up to Magical Cat Adventure, an arcade game made by a developer nobody has ever heard of called What is it? Win Techno, I think it was.
Win Techno, yeah.
You know, you never know where this stuff is going to take you. Just take it wherever you want. And it's not even with doing things like that. It also works. I have another example where Trav has in his Polykill Discord a channel called Get Fit, and it's really, really cool because it's a group of people that all post like their workouts and stuff like that, you know, because we got apps now that show us like, hey, here's how many calories I burned, here's how many of this I've done. We've got like I think is Musty a rower? Is that what he does?
He's on the bike. He's doing the bike.
Oh, he's on the bike.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that. We've got a lot of runners. There's like a push-up contest. Not a contest, but just like you know, how many can you do? How many can you do till you freaking fall over? And they even sucked me into this. And I hate running like more than life itself. I said this last episode, but yeah, they managed to trick me into it. And yeah, and it's just because I started seeing other people do it. And it looked cool. I remember one time, it all started by accident too, because I went out for a walk with this app, and I just wanted to like trace my steps and like see how far I went and have a cool little map thing to see where I went. And then this lady starts talking to my ear, and I'm like, oh no, what's this? And I'm like, okay, fine. If she's going to tell me to jog, I'm going to start jogging. And 2 weeks later, just this morning, I did 4 miles in an hour. And
wow, nice.
Hell yeah, dude.
Thanks. And it's just like, if you had told me that a month ago, be like, what? Give me some of what you're smoking, because there's no way you couldn't pay me to do that. But it's process effort over time. It just, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. You need to give it a fair shot, and you need to give it a lot of time and practice. So yeah, I think your painting channel is definitely part of that and a big inspiration.
That's sweet. I hope so. That would make it all worth it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think a huge part of it, like your example, is the connection that we feel in what we create. Because, I mean, look at what now you're running, you know? Like, if you hadn't had that connection in your life, you hadn't been inspired by it, you wouldn't be running at all now. And, like, obviously fitness is a good thing, you know? So it's a beautiful thing. Honestly, I think that's really, it comes down to, why do we create? Why do we do this stuff? It's like we want to connect and just hit that sort of basic need for us to belong and to connect to each other and share our experiences.
Well put. Well said.
Well put. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
we're done.
That's a wrap.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
We can't top that moment. It was pretty good.
Like George Costanza, he's like, you got to leave on a high note.
So we do mostly see you do paintings, and of course on the stream that's a big feature. I was flipping through your YouTube channel. I saw that there are some music outlets for you as well. So it seems like your talents do extend beyond the brush. Tell us about the instrument you play and the type of music that you have there on that YouTube channel.
Wow, I love the beyond the brush. That sounds very epic, doesn't it? Like, it doesn't have to
be
like
the name of your biography, yeah.
Or his VH1 behind the music.
Yeah.
The ReNESance beyond the brush. Nice. I'm gonna write that down because I gotta keep that in my mind. So yeah, I've been a musician pretty much my whole life. Like, that's been more so than painting or anything like that. Grew up playing violin when I was a little kid. Got into high school, I got really obsessed with drums and guitar. So basically just music all over the place. Really my biggest passion in life, to be honest with you. What you're probably seeing is the VG Keys thing that we kind of started up. Yeah, just in the community of the Twitch streamers and stuff like that, we've got a lot of musicians and a lot of talented people, and people that really love the game music, which is a huge part, I think, of the experience of the games that we play, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I was just thinking one day, like, we should all share each other's like playing of these instruments. If you play an instrument and you love the games, let's do something. It'll be fun. And at the time, I had just started renting a studio. So I'm in New York, so there's a studio in Midtown that had. I just rented it because I wanted to get back to playing drums again because it has a drum set, but it also had a nice upright piano. So I walked in to see the thing, and I was like, oh man, I was like, that's sweet right there, because I have a keyboard, but it's just not the same, you know?
Right.
So that's when it all kind of started, and we just all, you know, it was me and Redox PDX, Hungry Gorio was in on it a little bit, Beat Crones, a bunch of different like streamers and Twitchers and Twitter folk and whatever. So it just became this thing where we would just share it with each other, and it was a lot of fun. So there's that. But I've also had bands. I just put out a solo EP last year.
Wow.
Of like 6 or 7 songs with my buddy, my good friend who's also a musician, but he's like a producer too. So he's got a little studio out in Brooklyn that we worked on out there. Don't have any bands right now, sadly. I mean, which is kind of a good thing because we couldn't do anything now anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, music is always kind of like, sort of like the river of my life. It'll always be there. It'll always be my biggest passion. It'll always be my biggest dream to be a working musician, you know, but there's too many things that I'm trying to do and love, and it gets a little, you know, much.
Well, that's crazy. You're just like all over the place then. You got the painting thing, you got the music thing, you got the snake rattle and roll thing.
There's the segue.
If you can beat that game, I mean, geez. And you have a no death run of Battletoads? Like, are you kidding me? Like,
yep. Out of my mind.
So okay, let's just go there then. What are the toughest games that you think are on the system that you've beaten, or maybe you haven't beaten?
On the NES, right? We're talking, obviously.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
Oh man, well, the obvious ones, yeah, Battletoads is hard for sure. I don't know if I'd say it's the hardest, but it's hard. You know what game is really freaking hard and drives me nuts? The Adventures of Dino Ricky.
Really?
Has anyone played this? Oh my god, that game. Have you guys played this?
I've not given it a lot of attention, but tell me why it's so hard.
I don't know if you should. It's a Hudson game. It's basically, I think it's an auto scroll. It's kind of like a shooter. But
okay, yeah.
But it's top down. So it's kind of like, you know, Zelda meets Life Force or whatever you want to call it. But it's just brutal, man. Because here's the thing. You have to jump, but it's top down. That's really a huge part of why it's so hard.
So it's got that commando style perspective.
Exactly.
But you're platforming.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Exactly. And it's kind of bullet hellish, to be honest.
No thanks.
But it comes in this package of like Hudson cute sort of thing. The music is great, and
sure,
it lures you in with all of that. And then my story with this game, and I'll make it quick, is I was trying to beat this game. One night this is before I was streaming, this is years ago, and I was on the last level, and you know, it's that curse of the game with unlimited continues. You have no excuse to stop. You have no excuse to go to bed. So I'm sitting there on my couch, sweating, trying to get through this last level, and the sun starts coming up.
Oh no. It's like God's flashlight.
It's like the worst, because I'm like, now I can't beat this game. And I just feel so bad about myself. Like, what am I doing with myself? Like, so it's the most shameful moment. I had to stop. I didn't beat it that night, but I had to go back, you know, 3-4 nights later. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start at like 4 p.m. to make sure I have enough time. And I finally beat it. But I don't ever want to play that game again. That one's horrible. That one is just horrible. Yeah.
That's pretty incredible that you could beat, you know, games like that, though. I mean, I love the system, and I'm obviously a very big fan, but I'm more of a curious, passionate gamer than I am a skilled gamer. And so, you know, watching your videos, and I skimmed through the Snake Rattle and Roll one, and I was there for a few of those runs in your stream, and I just discovered the Battletoads one today. I know you did that more recently, but it's pretty incredible how calm you are, and your narration throughout. Like there's a couple parts where you don't really say anything. It just sounds like you're shushing a horse for like 8 solid minutes. You're like, shh,
Yeah.
it's okay, it's okay,
Yeah.
shh, it's okay. But you're pulling off the most epic, near death, close call stuff I've ever seen. So I don't know what to ask about that, but it's always fun for me to see other people that are highly skilled, go through games like that calmly, because I can't do it. It's too intense.
People say that I'm calm all the time, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I am not calm. I don't think I'm calm at all. And yeah, it's just stubbornness more than anything else, honestly. Like, I enjoy learning a game. I enjoy learning the patterns and just trying to, get better at it and get farther and farther. It's really just stubbornness, honestly. I think anyone can beat those games if they just sit down and dedicate way too much time to it.
Dedicate 16 straight hours to it.
Exactly.
That's basically what my girlfriend and I did. We were pretty much snowed in. This would have been 5 years ago. No, this would have been like 7 years ago. Damn. Yeah, we were snowed in pretty much, and she noticed we were just started the dating process at that point.
Oh,
and so we're we had known each other for years and years and years before that, but we had just started dating at that point. And so I'm still kind of anxious about stuff like, how do I entertain this person or whatever, and she sees my Super Nintendo stuff and she sees Super Ghouls and Ghosts. And I'm like, yeah, I was thinking about getting rid of that game because I just think it's kind of broken because it's got so much slowdown. And she's like, no, you're totally wrong. I beat this game when I was a kid. Or I think she beat it like the first way through, and then she saw you had to play it again, and she was like, oh, screw that. But yeah, so what we did is we just sat there and played it, and she basically showed me how to play that game, like the right way to do it. It's more like a puzzle platformer where you need to, it's rote memorization basically of understanding where to jump, how to jump, where the enemies are, what the patterns are, and knowing how to react and when to react and all that good stuff. And now I'm a huge fan of that game. So sometimes that works. Give it enough time and it can win you over.
I can seriously feel how hard you fell in love that night.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was when he knew she was the one.
Yup. I mean, I've dated girls who, if they see my collection of games, they're like, what are those? And I'm like, oh no. Here we go.
I think my granddad had some of those. Like, get out of here.
Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah.
Are those cassettes? What are those?
Oh, yeah. It's the worst.
Where they call them something completely wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo tapes. Yeah, that's a big one.
Tapes. There you go. Yeah.
Nice. Have you guys played Battle of Olympus? I have to mention this game, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's so mean.
Battle of Olympus is that's the side-scrolling one?
Yeah, it's like the Zelda 2 engine clone sort of thing.
Yeah, that game's pretty mean.
Oh, it's so mean. So I want to like it. The music is fantastic. I like the whole idea. But God, that game is mean. It's just awful.
I think that's the best way to put it, is just mean. It's not like outdated difficulty or to bring up rentals or anything like that. No, it's just a mean game made by mean people.
It's kind of both. Like, it is hard as hell. It is mean, but like, I played it not too long ago, and if you remember, you have to like farm for olives. That's like your currency.
Oh, that's right. That's the olives game. Yeah, and that takes forever.
Forever. Like, you get like 1 olive, maybe 2 per kill, and things are like, here's a bracelet you need. It's 500 olives. It's like, are you kidding me? And the last time I played it, I finally, got enough olives, and I went back to this god or whatever to get the thing I needed. I forget what happened. I don't remember the details, but he was like, oh, you can't do it or whatever. So not only did he not sell me the thing, but he took away another item I already had, which is like the sandals. So then I couldn't jump anymore. Like, I could jump like a third of the way I could before. And I was like, wait, are you kidding me? Like, it was actually on stream. I was like, I'm done. Goodbye. It's like, I was like, stream's over.
I have not heard of that happening. Wow. Yeah, that's more than just regular old video game mean. That's like going out of your way to be mean.
Yeah, I forget the details of why that happens, but someone was in chat who was like very knowledgeable of the game. They were like, what? They're like, I've never seen that happen before. And I was like, well, great. I'm the guinea pig.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And
brutal.
Speaking of games from that era, do you have any personal cover art favorites? Are you a fan of any of the cover arts for any of those?
Ooh. Okay. Castle Quest Do you guys know this game?
Yeah.
I love the cover art
I
of
do
that
not.
game.
I'll have
I got to
look
bring it up real quick to remind myself,
Yeah.
but oh yeah,
It's a
yeah, that's pretty epic.
It's a classic example of, God, this game looks nothing like the cover art. But the cover art is just so cool. Like it hits all the little marks. It has like the 2 little fairies in there, and I mean the demon looks awesome. It's just so great. I love it.
That does look freaking cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you play the game, you're like, what is this? This is like an Atari game. But it's really cute. It's really cute, and I love it a lot. What else? Nothing else is standing out right now, but I'm just, my answer is Castle Quest.
Yeah.
Final answer.
That's cool. That's that's one
Yeah.
I didn't expect. So that's cool to hear that one. I kind of wanted to go back to some of your painting stuff real quick because we were talking about NES games and a lot of the art that you've done. You've brought a lot of, I would say, NES specifically landscapes to life. You've done Castlevania and Maniac Mansion and that kind of stuff. How do you select the ones that you're going to do? Is that commissions from people requesting certain things, or are you coming up with a lot of these on your own? Is it a mix?
It's a total mix. Yeah, you're kind of nailing it. If it's a commission, obviously it's a commission. Someone wants to order a commission, and I'll make that, and then I'll usually make prints out of anything. So that's where those come from. Like Maniac Mansion, for example, was a commission. I don't know if I would have done that scene had it not been a commission, because it's kind of a culty kind of game. It's not that popular, you know what I mean? So if I'm going to put the effort in, it might not pay off if I do something too, esoteric. If you know
I see.
What I mean?
Yeah, okay.
But then the other ones that aren't commissions, yeah, I just kind of wanted to hit the hot spots. Like when I was doing the convention, I totally wanted to have prints that were going to be like, hey, it's Zelda, hey, it's Mario, hey, it's Castlevania,
Exactly. Yeah.
Because people are going to walk by and they're just looking for games, and
Right.
if I'm going to get their attention, it's going to have to be that sort of thing. So that's mostly it. Sometimes it's just one that I really want to do. Like I played Shovel Knight, and I was like, holy crap, this game is awesome. I really want to come up with a scene, and that's where that one came from. So yeah, it's pretty much a blend of all that stuff.
Yeah, and your Shovel Knight one is definitely one of my favorites. That one's awesome. Do you have any personal favorites of your own work? Or maybe ones that you're most proud of?
Yeah, I feel like such a jerk saying stuff like this, but I liked the Dragon Warrior one, because I put the slime into it, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna do that, because my strong suit is not creating or painting animate objects, people, or I'm a landscape kind of guy. So when I was doing it, I was like, am I going to do a blob in here, like the slime enemy? And I'm glad I did, because it really brought it all together. So I think that's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah,
nice.
it looks like you're the classic Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest too, viewpoint for the battles, basically is what it reminds me of. Yeah, it looks like you're from the first person perspective there, about to fight this thing, which I really like.
Exactly. Yeah. I did the whole thing pretty much without the slime, and I was like, okay, it looks nice or whatever, but it needed it. So it was a little scary to plop it in there, but worked out.
Have you ever had to turn down a commission? Like, has anybody requested anything really weird? Like, say I were to request double dribble, or bad dudes or something like that, or just a really weird game.
I want to make a joke about porn, but I'm not going to do it. Nothing's ever happened.
What is that Atari game called? Yeah.
or like the Custer's Revenge or something like that.
Whatever. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. The only times I have to say no is when people do want stuff like animate objects, the stuff that I was just talking about. Like they're like, hey, can you paint Spider-Man busting out of a car, or Samus busting out of whatever? And I'm like, I'm not your guy. I could try it, but I don't think you would be happy with it. So that's the only time I'll say no. But most stuff is landscape based, and we'll work on the scene together. So even if they're just like, I want something from this game, we'll kind of brainstorm it together and come up with a good scene, which is the most fun part for me, honestly, because we get to have a dialogue, and it's almost like a collaborative process. So
how do people reach out to you about that stuff? Stuff that they want? Is there? Do you have a Patreon, or do people just send you comments? How do you organize that?
I have a bunch of different ways. I mean, I do have a Patreon. I have a website. I have an email. I mean, I'm on Twitter, so a lot of the times it just comes as DMs on Twitter or even Instagram, or people will just whisper to me on Twitch, like sometimes while I'm streaming, stuff like that. So there are many, many ways to get in touch. Yeah.
Very cool. I can't request Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball, the cover of that. You're going to turn me away.
You can. You can.
I wouldn't do that to you. I can kind of relate to you in kind of a weird way because there are some requests that I get on Patreon that I have to basically like let them know, like, I don't think you're going to be very happy with the video because like if you ask for a PS1 game or just that whole generation of like Saturn up through Dreamcast and GameCube and that whole thing, PS2, my footage sucks. It just looks like crap, and it kills my computer. I'm obviously doing something wrong, but I don't have any of those systems for one thing, so I can't go the direct way, through my normal capture process. It would have to be through like emulation or something along those lines, and it just always ends up looking bad one way or another. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I can't really do that unless I know somebody that has a PlayStation or whatever. But
is that the
same kind of thing?
If I can ask, is that the only thing that holds you back, or are there certain like games, like certain genres that you just are not interested in enough to do a review of if someone asks for it?
I mean, RPGs are always a tough ask because they take up so much time. But I have done a few of them. I did Breath of Fire 3. That worked out pretty well as long as I keep the it's boring technical stuff, but. And I do have a friend here named Nate that helps me out with footage a lot. The dude's a lifesaver. Okay. But nice. He always makes me say, I'll say it on the podcast now, I'll make him listen. He always says, like, okay, I'll do it for you if you make sure to mention that I kick your ass at Killer Instinct every time we play. I'm like, okay, dude.
Just put it at the end, like with the Patreon information, like, and by the way, he totally destroys me in this game.
He's very proud of that. Yeah, it's but what was the other game I did? I think it was Skies of Arcadia last year. And that was a little tough. It was a little wonky because of that was all through emulation I did myself. But yeah, it's always a tough ask because there's so many different factors that get in the way. Because it's like, okay, now I have huge file sizes. Now it's this file is crashing Vegas anytime I try and move it anywhere. It's just like one thing after another. It's almost like a domino effect, and it's like it's more work than it's worth at that point. So yeah, I do have like a bear, like RPGs or anything that takes up like hours and hours and hours. Like it's like I'd like to keep the channel moving, like even if that means I have to do pinball games like I did the other day. But long games, no thanks.
Yeah, and you keep things pretty brief and pretty snappy.
Cranks out videos like there's no tomorrow. But I wanted to mention, Ren, my wife actually purchased one of your prints for me last Father's Day, and It was a total surprise too, because I remember I had seen your stream and I was like, wow, this dude rules. What a good idea to paint stuff. That's cool. And I showed my wife, who doesn't care about anything I care about at all. And I was like, this is like going to be the thing, because art's cool. Everybody can come together over art. And I was like, dude, watch this guy paint this stuff. And she's like, what's he painting? I was like, game stuff you wouldn't care about, but look how cool it looks. And she's like, wow, that is cool. And she somehow tracked down, like, I guess she did her own research, found your website, was able to go in and order a print. And it showed up on Father's Day, and it's the Castlevania one. It's one of my favorite ones that you had anyway, so
nice.
It was pretty cool stuff. So I have that, gracing the wall above the workstation here. So I wanted to mention that. But
I love hearing that. I really do. And good on Mrs. Friend. Nice investigation.
yeah. She did her homework. As soon as I saw it too, I was like, you didn't. That's so cool. That's very cool.
Good job, Mrs. Friend.
Mrs. Friend, yeah. It's not what I call her, but.
It's very sweet when I hear people like, oh, I put this up and now it's in my game room. Like, that's all I want. Like, for people to like see those scenes and to kind of have that nostalgia for it and just have a nice connection to it. It's always nice to hear that. So thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, right on, man. I guess before we bailed here, you do this thing. I popped in your stream the other day and you're playing golf, which is not an uncommon thing for me to find you doing over there. and you were talking about some golf event or something that's organized through your stream. I didn't really catch all the ins and outs. And can you explain what's going on with all the golf? What's up with all the golf?
So back in I guess it was April or May, I think I was just talking to a couple people about trying to organize a tournament for golf because I love NES Open Tournament Golf. Are we familiar?
Yeah.
Such a fun game.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it just kind of turned into this chat about, hey, we could do a tournament, like everyone, just because there are 3 courses on the game. So we could all, whoever wants to be in on the tournament, you play those 3 tournaments on your day, or just the 3 courses, whatever your best score is, and then we can totally make a tournament out of it. So that's what I did, and what the original plan was I was going to be in on it as well, but then someone mentioned, like, you should be, like, the commentator for it. And I was like, wow, that would be actually really fun. And again, I didn't have much going on because it was, this is May, just this past May, so not working and yada yada. So I was like, all right, let's just do this. So we got like 15 to 20 entrants, which was great. They would stream their goes at it. They would play the 3 courses. So there's a UK, a US, and a Japan course. So whoever had the lowest on all of those would go into the final and final Sunday. It lasted a week. And I would just stream my stream of watching their streams. So I would and I took off their audio and just put on some like bird sounds. And I just did it. I did it as like a golfer. We all came up with golf personas too, the golf sonas. Okay, so actually, it goes back a little farther. Let me backtrack. One night late, I was watching this video on old DOS games. It was just like 100 of the best DOS games, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm trying to go to sleep. I'll watch this, sure. And I saw this golf game that I think I played on my dad's computer when I was a really little kid, and it was Lynx 386. I don't know if you guys are familiar with DOS stuff.
386, I'm familiar with, yeah, but
yeah. Like, just like a lightning bolt of nostalgia. I was like, oh my god, I gotta find this. So long story short, I found the game, started streaming that, and that became, I had to come up with a name for like my profile, and it was Saucy Kielbasage was the golfer's name. And so then when the whole tournament idea started coming up, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna commentate it as Saucy Kielbasage, who, by the way, his formal name is Sausage Kielbasage. I think that's important to note. I think that's very important to note.
God, I want to name this episode that. I don't. We have to figure out a way to get Sausage Kielbasage in the title.
Maybe just a little subtitle or something.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that.
Do you change your voice? Like, do you?
Well, a little bit. Like, I put on my best, golf commentator as best I could. Like, I would start whispering, or I would be like, it was ridiculous. It was a lot of fun though. So, and 3 or 4 people would be doing their turns at the same time, so I would be able to like switch between their streams and be like, okay, let's go over to Bogus Clubsman on hole number 3 on the UK course, and it would just be like, it would honestly be like watching golf, except it's an 8-bit golf game, and we're playing as Sausage Kielbasage. So it was really fun. It lasted a week. We had a winner, and he was rewarded the golden sauce jar, because the whole sauce thing of my channel is the ReNESance.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. So that's where the sauce comes from. And it was just a blast, man. And honestly, that was a big, like, kick in my channel. Like, people loved it. Like, they really came by, and like everyone was like talking about it. I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. But
I think it sounds really
like,
fun.
It was so much fun, man. If you guys want to be in on it, because we're gonna do it again for sure. And anyone listening, if you want to be in on it, I should say that, because now like all these people will be like, yes, and I'll have like a list of 50 people that want to play. But I'll put it out on Twitter if we do it again. Maybe in the fall we'll do another one. But it was a blast.
And this is the later NES Open, not the original NES Golf. This is the one with Mario. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to practice.
Not golf. Oh man, you better get good.
Yeah.
You better get good.
Yeah. Well, I love golf video games. In fact, on my 3D, I think what is this game called officially? I don't want to call it Mario. Oh, it's just Mario Golf World Tour for 3DS. It has been in my 3DS for like over a year, just because that's all I play on the thing.
The go-to.
Is just And I've gotten like ridiculously good at it, like birdie every hole,
Nice.
eagle every par 5, and all that sort of stuff.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome.
I
Well, I
can't-
understand that you're a huge sports game fan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and golf games in particular. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
this is
I'll-
totally up my alley. Trav, you're
I
going
will-
down.
All right, whatever. It's my system. 16-bit guy.
Nice. Ouch.
That's a good point.
Ouch. See what I've done? I've brought about a rift.
After inspiring
Like
so
golf.
many people with your paintings, you see a friendship crumble into
Yes.
dust.
Yes.
We're like
Yes.
drunk ex-friend.
Giveth and taketh away. That's the life of Sausage Kielbasage. That's his subtitle of his autobiography. or
I love
something.
the idea, though. You come up with a name, you do the whole golf shtick, like Jim Nance. Do you start every stream with "Hello, friends," just like he does?
Oh yeah. Oh my god, dude, we had like people would come into the chat and we had this whole thing going of like, what's the cocktail tonight in the clubhouse? Oh, tonight we have a peach, schnapps mixer or whatever. Dude, it was insanity. We had like I'd be up in the booth, I would say, and I'd be like, man, I'm really hungry. Can someone go down to the clubhouse and grab me one of those brownies and bring it up to the booth for me? Thanks. Like, so stupid. So stupid. It was great. I'll have to send you guys a clip or something. There must be clips of it somewhere.
Yeah, there's got to be. Oh, that sounds freaking awesome. It really does. I used to work at a golf course too when I was a teenager. So.
Oh, so did I.
Did you really?
I did that job. I had worked at I was the worst job I ever had. It was. Yeah, did you have to like? Was it like early morning shift kind of stuff?
Yep. I mean, I'm a morning person anyway, so that part didn't bother me. But yeah, I was there sometimes as early as 4:30 a.m. and I'd be on the.
Yep.
I'd cut greens, cut tees, cut fairways.
Yep.
Rough,
Yep.
all that stuff.
I was the bunker kid. I was like,
There you go. At least you get to make some cool patterns.
I guess if I'm awake. Like,
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
It was 4 a.m. It was brutal. Yeah, that's so funny.
Oh, what a weird coincidence that is.
Right. Are you a golfer as well?
I'm terrible. I mean, I'm play with my brother every once in a while at Blue Moon, and then I hurt my left shoulder.
No.
So it's hard to swing now. But yeah, I'm okay. I've had like a couple. Like I shot like at the course I worked at. I ended up shooting a 41 on the front nine, which is like my.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's
Great.
from the blacks too, from the back tees.
Nice.
And that's like a once in a lifetime thing where it's just like every bounce went my way. That's the allure of golf. Is that see, Trav? We're trying to convert you here. That's
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
Trav.
asleep. What was going on?
I was about to be like, Travis, how about you? You play golf? And I just heard snoring.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
I've been waiting for to try and convince him to do a 90s golf podcast, because we've done 90s music part 1 and 2. We've done 90s sports. Now it's time for 90s golf. We're gonna talk some Greg Norman. Gonna talk some what's that dude's name? Freddie Couples. Talk some Corey Pavin.
Ernie Els.
Ernie Els, 2-time U.S. Open winner.
Sure, one of the smoothest swings out there.
Oh yeah, the
You
Big
better
Easy.
believe it.
See, we don't need Trav. We can just do the 90s golf podcast right now.
Oh,
I see how it
Travis.
is.
No,
I see how it is. Thanks, guys.
Good times. Good times.
sorry, Travis. Sorry, man.
I guess speaking of questions, you want to jump into some listener questions?
Okay, this question is from Derek. He is asking, when you started your channel, did any of you do something to bring attention to it? Like, did you advertise it to anyone or any site? Did you share it amongst close friends? Or did you not bother with the advertising? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I definitely told all my close friends I wanted to get it up to 8 views right out of the gate. And
Nice.
honestly, not really. I mean, I guess Twitter, I'd already kind of established the podcast thing, so I wasn't starting from complete scratch in terms of like yelling into the nethers about, hey, please look at me and stuff I've made. So I kind of got that it's hard to do and you can't just drop it anywhere. But
Yeah.
I did try Reddit, I did try some forums, and it's not always well received. Sometimes it's just a waste of your time, but you got to try it. Until I got a little bit of traction, and then I feel like I don't really have to do it as much anymore. It kind of does it itself. But yeah, at first is probably the hardest. You have to get some people to find it to initially, or else it's just going to sit there. So
Right.
nothing paid, nothing like that. Just dropping it in places, not cold dropping it, definitely in places where people knew me and I had some rapport, and that was really it. I didn't really do much else in terms of organizing any advertising. What about you guys?
Okay, so When I started a YouTube, it was really just for a little hobby. I had no aspiration of being like a big YouTuber or anything like that, and I was just doing like playthroughs and little things like that. So yeah, I would put things out on Instagram of like, hey, here's my new video, and it was really just a way to connect with fellow YouTubers, and I made some friends that way. But it wasn't until the painting really took shape where I really was like, okay, this is really what I want to push and advertise. So I did do that and I started Twitter about the same time. So it was Twitter and Instagram, and actually I've just been using Reddit recently too, and that's been pretty good. Because it's like a very focused audience on, you can look up NES and art and stuff like that. So that's been good, but just for the painting, really, honestly.
Did you ever so nobody here paid for any kind of advertising?
I don't really know what to do with that. I mean, does it work?
I was going to say, anybody listening, if you're aspiring to do this, any sort of YouTube thing, do not ever pay for advertising. You're not going to get your money back. It's a waste of time. It doesn't work. I've never done it myself, but I've seen other people do it. And since I used to be a mod at the SNES subreddit, we used to get people that are like, hey, can I'll offer you this if I can post my link here, that sort of stuff. And it's just like, no, get out of here.
Well, that's good to hear though, because I think a lot of people are kind of caught up by that or brought in by that. I've considered it myself, so
and that includes those networks too that are, we see even big channels fall into those, and it's just like there's no payoff, there's no benefit to that stuff. 9 times out of 10, when you go to those networks, like Twitter pages, they have like exactly, 5,100 followers, and like 90% of them are fake. You look at each of their actual tweets, and they each have like 1 retweet, 3 likes, probably by their parents and like one other person or something like that. And it's just, it's such a scam, and it's blatant. So everybody just say no to networks, just say no to paying for advertising. Your hobby stuff. Don't do it. That's my advice. That's my Sailor Moon says for the day.
There you go. I think the best advice is sell yourself on a group of people, and then sell what you got. Like, get them to like you, and then they'll be more receptive to what you have to offer. And it's a little bit of work. People don't want to do that part. They don't want to take the time to make connections, and they'd rather just be like, hey, group of strangers, look what I made, and people are gonna be like, no, why?
And then they get angry when nobody comments on it. It's like, who are you again?
That's really big. It's so much of it is about the community that you build and become and ingratiate yourself into. It's like, if you don't have that, I was listening to Hungry's podcast with you guys the other night, and she kind of spoke about that a little bit, of people who kind of just come into a stream or something, and they'll be like, this is what I do, and it's like, we don't even know you, like, you can't just do that. You have to put a little time and effort in, and you know what? You might just make some friends, like,
along the way.
That's kind of it's kind of the bottom line. Like, that's what I said earlier. It's like, you got to do it because you want to have that connection. You want to share those experiences with other people that have the similar interests, and from there, then you can maybe make it grow, if you want to.
I was lucky enough to post at the Racket Boy forums way back in the day, going back to like the late 2000s, I think. And I wasn't a regular poster there, but I definitely read, like, there's so many like smart, knowledgeable people there, and they're all really nice too. They just know like, there's people there that know absolutely everything about the Atari ST platform or whatever, like, or something about the Amiga, or I don't know, or the Atari Lynx. I know absolutely everything there is to know about the Atari Lynx. Like, they're so knowledgeable about all that stuff. So I was just like soaking up information, and occasionally I'd like ask a question, or I'd like, like make a comment or make my own observations and my own little reviews and that sort of thing. But yeah, they were nice enough to watch my stuff because they knew who I was, and I credit them for getting me started way back in 2013. Because the first video for me that took off was the Chrono Trigger video, and I remember that got like 100 views like right away, and it was because Racket Boy, it like got passed around there, and it got passed, like, I think somebody shared it on their Facebook, and then their friends ended up watching it, and everybody really liked it. So I got really lucky in that sense, where I was already kind of grandfathered into an audience, so to speak. I guess I don't know how to properly phrase that, but yeah, it's there's such a nice group of people. I wish I was there more often, but there's so much text to keep up with at this point with forums that it's really hard. But yeah, no, but the point is, yeah, you do need to, like, what's your goal? Is it to make money on YouTube, or is it to share your hobby with a group of friends or group of people or whatever? So yeah, get your priorities in order first.
Yeah, that's
Totally.
a good point. I wanted to ask Alex, any of those early adopters of your channel stick around from Racket Boy? Do you still recognize any commenters from then?
Not on YouTube, but I do occasionally get like a private message from them.
Cool.
From there's like 4 or 5 people that there's like a couple people I would say I'm not even comfortable saying I know them, because that's just, I've talked to them a few times about a few things. So it's like I don't really know them, but like we're familiar with each other, basically.
Gotcha.
Like we know each other's tastes and stuff like that in gaming and all that sort of thing. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, cool. All right, I guess that pretty much wraps up the show. Ren, I'm going to give you the opportunity here to shout out, maybe if you want to hint towards some stuff you're working on, or let people know what to expect out of your channels coming up and how they can find you on the World Wide Web.
Sure, yeah. First of all, yeah, thank you so much. This has been awesome. You guys are stand-up gents, and I appreciate that. So you can find me. My website is just gamescapeartist.com. So from there, you can You can click. You can click to my Etsy shop where I've got prints. My Patreon is there. Pretty much everything that you would need. Twitch, just twitch.tv/TheReNESance if you want to stop by. Twitter, same thing, just TheReNESance, you'll find me. Upcoming stuff, I do have a commission. I'll just say that it's from Breath of the Wild that I'm very excited about. So I'm about to start that. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of pretty things to paint from that game, so I'm excited to see what's coming up.
Totally, yeah. I'm pretty excited myself. It just kind of got settled yesterday, so I haven't even started it yet. But so I'll make a video about that, do a time lapse and all that sort of thing. Just working on kind of beefing up my traditional landscape portfolio right now. So I'm just working on some other things like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Games coming up, same old stupid stuff that I stream and get mad at. So come on by.
Very cool. Yeah, and just to clarify, you stream the painting only on Saturdays?
Just Saturday nights, yeah. I'm on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday right now with gaming stuff. Saturday nights is your painting action, yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, guys, that's been another Drunk Friend podcast. You can reach out to us at drunkfriendpodcast@gmail.com. And if you like even more podcasts, if this isn't enough, you can check out the others on our network at polykill.com. You can find Tales of the Lesser Medium and Polykill proper there.
If you'd simply like to help out the show, remember to rate and review us wherever you listen.
And we're on Twitter as well. I'm at Trav Plays Games. Alex is, of course, at SNES Drunk, and you can find Ren at The ReNESance. I should clarify that it's not just The ReNESance, like from the old days. It's the Ren, ReNESance. So just to let people know, you got the NES in there. You got to be careful.
Yeah,
exactly.
The NES. We also want to give our usual shout out to Coolor for the podcast music. The song you heard, and you will hear in a second, is called Electric Starbounce, and you can find a link to more of his music on the Buzzsprout podcast page. And a shout out to Josh Leslie, who made our cold, crisp, and refreshing logo.
God, it is very good logo. Be sure to catch us all on YouTube and now Twitch, and thanks for listening.
And we hope you have a great rest of your day.